You know, there's a strange thing that happens when you finally realize your external world is usually a reflection of your internal one. The relationships you accept, the money that you settle for, the opportunities you chase or avoid, the way people treat you. It often traces back to one thing, self-worth. This episode, we're talking about that. We're talking about how you value yourself, and the values that you put on yourself quietly sets the standard on how other people treat you. And my name is Bob. That is Vipin. We're talking today about self-worth equals external worth. And I think that in the last couple of years we've been doing the podcast, Vipin, I feel like my self-worth has gotten better. And I'm hoping that yours has as well, just from the conversations and the topics and the things that we're talking about week in and week out.
So that's a great way of closing that opening remark, that our self-worth has gotten better. It's not, so let's define self-worth versus self-esteem for a moment. And then we'll describe external worth. So self-esteem is based on outcomes. I worked out today, so I feel better about myself. Did my job today, so I feel better about myself. I was kind to someone, so I feel better about myself. That's self-esteem. It's based on actions. It's based on outcomes. It's based on validation of some sort. We got to have self-esteem. It's important. Now, self-worth is not based on any external factors. All the research and all the understanding and all the writings and the readings and through experience, our self-worth is really about, do you have a self-acceptance? Do you have a self-appreciation? Do you have self-love for yourself? Do you really care about yourself in such a way that you hold yourself as a special person? Nobody can give you self-worth. You have to be able to accept it, appreciate yourself, and be. Self-worth is based on the fact that you're human. You're living on this earth, and you are a special person with your special traits, your special skills, your special experiences, and just by being and loving to yourself, self-love is really the key component in self-worth.
Well, self-worth impacts a lot of things in your life. It impacts your relationships, your business, your money, your health, your opportunities. It encompasses a lot of your life, the way that you feel about yourself.
Totally. And so what you might think is that to be successful in business, you want to make a lot of money and you want to be worth more externally, and you want to go out there and have a great house, and you want to have a great relationship. You want to be able to have a great career. You want to be able to have money in the bank, to travel, and all those things. And they're really important. You can do it from a place of fear. You can do it from a place of self-drive. You can do it from a place of security. But if your self-worth is, I deserve and I'm worthy of these great things, and I love and appreciate myself, you're able to do these things a lot better and for the higher purpose for yourself and keep it sustainable. So the big thing that it gets in the way, if we do the success for the wrong reasons, and you and I have talked about this before. I know a lot of, through friends, and I've met with a couple of guys who are worth a couple of $100 million in the last couple of weeks. A lot of billionaires that my friends and my associates have mentioned are miserable. They've always believed that their self-worth was going to determine, their worth was going to be dependent on how much money they had in the bank. They're constantly chasing. They want more and more and more. What ends up happening is they're insecure inside. So now they have cameras for their mansions. They're watching over the cameras to see if it's safe or where their cars are safe. All this time and energy they're spending on protecting they're not sure if somebody likes them for who they are or for their money, and right. What do the people want? What do the relatives want from them money-wise and all that stuff? And so if your worth is centered around your true essence, your true awareness, your true consciousness, your true self, you're able to accept and let go and say, gosh, I really am the special person. I deserve to have the best. You'll create this external worthiness and this external wealth that you deserve it, that you want it, and you want it for certain things like freedom and security and all of that, but you won't be driven by fear. You won't be driven by validation from society. You won't be driven by trying to get approval from other people. You'll be driven in a level of inner peace, inner solitude, inner self, mindfulness, all those things that will give you an integration between what we've talked about before, a sound body, a sound mind, and the sound soul or the sound spirit. So really integrating all of this together, what I have learned, especially focusing on it in the last week or so, self-worth is a critical component to getting your external wealth. And the better you work on it today, you can get really rich. A lot of people have done it without good self-worth, but they're miserable. The key is to increase the wealth The key is to manifest what you want in life by doing it the right way, integrating through your body, your mind, and your soul, so they're all working together. And so your relationships are your external wealth. Your emotional wealth is really critical. Your financial wealth will come as a result of a multitude of things, but different kind of wealths out there as well, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think the three that really matter for a lot of people are your emotional wealth, your spiritual wealth, and your physical wealth. We can talk through each one of these areas that kind of make sense. Emotional wealth is really about managing your emotions and being in a great emotional state of mind, so you can be the best person that you can be. Financial wealth, obviously creating wealth externally in the world, but you feel better once you do it in the right self-worth sort of a way. Physical wealth, you need to be able to integrate your mind, body, and soul, so that's your physical ability to be able to act and live in the way you want to live. And then spiritual wealth is all about, do you connect to a higher level of awareness, higher source, meaning in life? Are you just living for yourself, or are you trying to live a purpose-driven life where you're able to connect and help others? Mm-hmm. I don't think we're just meant to be self-worthy and just go out there and do whatever. I think our worth comes from helping others and doing the right things when we share our love. But we have to fill our bucket of self-love and self-worth before we can give to others. And when we give without doing that, that's when we cause ourselves a lot of pain and suffering. We give too much, we get hurt, we go back to ourselves. We're like, why did I do that? I start resenting people. I start having fear. I start having doubt. I start doubting myself. So it's a whole cycle of... So the biggest thing that we talk about in this book, Money and Mantras, and we talk about in this podcast, Manifest 360, we're trying to integrate our body, our mind, and our spirit in such a way that we're able to create emotional wealth, spiritual wealth, and financial wealth in a way that we're really, truly happy. In essence, we're creating from peace and purpose rather than just trying to make money so that money will buy us happiness, which we all know it doesn't.
No, it certainly doesn't. You know, and a lot of what we're talking about now kind of goes to the whole name of the Manifest 360, which is the name of the podcast, that, you know, you attract what you believe that you can hold or things that you think that you can take care of. But at the same time, you very rarely see people that, I know you mentioned just a couple of minutes ago that, you know, that some people have achieved more than what they thought they were going to, but you very rarely hear of somebody that's successful and loves what they're doing and all that, that's thought, you know what, I'm only going to make $800,000, and then, you know, they made more than, that's probably not a very good example of it, but if you wish for the stars and hope for the stars and work toward the stars, you're going to shoot and hit the stars. But if you only shoot for mid-level, you're only going to hit mid-level rather than the stars, the moon, and the sun. You know?
Yeah, and I think it's a saying that Wayne Gretzky said. You miss all the shots that you don't take. You know, it's that big hockey analogy. If you don't go for the shot, you're going to miss it. Same thing with Tiger Woods. Is like, if you miss your putt short, you're going to miss the putt for sure. If you go left or right, at least you had a chance trying to make it. So don't leave yourself short. That's the name of the game with the self-worth piece. Mm-hmm. The more worthy you are, the what you put yourself out as, once you start believing it, once you start accepting it, appreciating it, at that point, that's when you can actually go out and take the actions that you need to be able to reinforce that belief and go after it. That's why self-worth equals external wealth, because you can't really achieve what you don't think you can conceive. And to be able to conceive what you have to feel worthy to be able to go get it.
Absolutely. And another thing, too, on that same line is don't self-sabotage. Because there are so many people that do that. That's like, yeah. Oh, man, I don't know if I can do that. This is too good. This shouldn't be happening to me. And then pretty soon, as we've talked about with the whole manifest thing, that you start putting that doubt in yourself, and then pretty soon the stuff falls apart. Don't self-sabotage. Just go for the gusto and go for the gold.
So let's talk about self-sabotage for a moment. That's a great concept, right? So how do people self-sabotage? Why do they self-sabotage? They don't feel worthy.
Or they're afraid of success.
They're afraid of success, which is a huge fear for a lot of people. Fear of failure and fear of success are kind of tied together. Sometimes people intertwinedly change them. It's really important to actually work on being worthy. What you believe you will be worthy of is what you're going to get in life. May that be in your relationships. May that be in your financial wealth. May that be in your emotions. If you believe you're worthy of happiness, you're going to go get it. You're going to find a way to be happy. If you're worthy of believing in your financial wealth, you'll find a way to go get that wealth. If you're believing in your worthiness of having a great, loving relationship, you'll go find a way to have that. But it all starts with self-love. It starts with appreciating yourself for who you are.
Well, I was going to say that people that are our age, the big movie in the, what was it, 90s, Wayne's World, Wayne and Garth, I'm not worthy, when they ended up meeting some rock stars or whatever it was that they were doing at the time. If you think that you're worthy of it, you're going to be able to have more of those things happen to yourself.
So the whole thing around manifestation can be a foo-foo word that we talk about, right? It can also be a very tangible neuroscience-based thing. It's the law of the universe, and the law of attraction is also in place. The law of attraction was really popularized by this movie that came out in the late 90s, early 2000s, called The Secret. And I don't know if you've heard about it or not, but you attract everything in your life based on your beliefs, based on your thoughts, based on your actions. Your actions and your thoughts are determined by your beliefs. And if you believe you're a schmuck, you're not going to get it. You're a schmuck. And then I remember this story I think I told you a couple of weeks back or a couple of months ago, that there were these two girls that I met at Harbar Mall at the Barnes & Noble there a number of years ago. And they didn't think they could afford to go to college. So there were these high school kids. I just come back. I just sold my company. I was sitting there and I was talking to them. They were just kids who were going to my same high school that I was going to. And they were limiting themselves already at the age of 16, 17. And I was like, wow, you got the world as an oyster. Look at a guy like me who's come from nothing and is able to live in Seattle and do this, and that. You guys can open up your whole world just by believing and then take the action. So really, from your worth, it's your belief. You won't self-sabotage if you really believe in yourself that you deserve the best in your emotional, spiritual, and financial wealth. Then you'll be able to go after and go get it.
I want to dive into something you said a couple of minutes ago about the word manifest being a foo-foo word. I know that when we used to do Fall Rise Give podcast before it transformed into the Manifest 360, I talk about our podcasts religiously to different people. And when we switched it over to Manifest 360, somebody actually said those words. Isn't that one of those foo-foo words, the new age words and blah, blah, blah. But I told them, I said, the thing is that I didn't know if I really, truly believed in the manifest thing prior to us getting together and doing this. Since then, my perception of it has changed a lot. Because I know that, like, if I'm thinking about something and working toward it and visualizing it, a lot of times it happens. And I think I'm not the only person that happens for. And that's why I think that, that switching it from Fall Rise Give to Manifest 360 has been a good turn for us.
The biggest thing is you're saying you've been wanting and changing and you've been able to accept and appreciate this word. But even if you're not getting what you want, you're still manifesting the shit that you are manifesting. So you're manifesting daily based on your behaviors, your actions, your thoughts. If you're stuck somewhere, you're manifesting that. It's all you. You're accountable for it. You can pick up your bags and leave and go to LA and work in a restaurant and wash dishes and move up and become a manager and then be friends with the owner. And next thing you know, you're starting your own restaurant. And next thing you know, you're meeting celebrities and blah, blah, blah. So you can do all sorts of things if you believe that you want to change. You just got to be, it's that whole Jim Carrey thing, right? He thought he was worth $10 million, so he wrote a $10 million check to himself and kept it in his wallet. He believed in himself, he felt he was worthy, and then he went after it and got it. And he considers himself one of the best manifestors in society today. He can manifest everything. But I think we all are manifesting everything ourselves. It's what are you worthy of? You're manifesting it already. You don't have to, it's not a foo-foo word because you're manifesting your life as it is. Based on your thoughts, your actions, your beliefs, your results are coming based on that. But if your self-worth is X and you want it to be Y, you just got to start believing it, appreciating yourself, and writing it down, saying, I'm worth X. You reinforce that belief once you start believing it. So in the world of relationships, I'm worthy of love. In the world of your financial thing, I'm worthy of love. I'm worthy of create through relationships. In a financial world, you create with a relationship with yourself, relationship with other people, business associates, or whatever. People are only going to give you, in whatever transaction, time, resources, or money, what you feel you're worthy. That's why it's so important to focus on your self-worth, which comes innate from your being. Tons of people, Abraham Lincoln, he believed in himself. He went through all these pitfalls, all these pains, all these failures, all the way through his life, and became one of the greatest presidents in American society because he believed in himself, believed in worthy of what he felt he had a mission to do. So being a person of high self-worth allows you to have a purpose, which is based on your values. You value being worth. That worth translates into external things that you want to get in an inner alignment with your energy. So your energy is really the fuel, and that comes based on your beliefs, comes based on your thoughts, which result in your action, which result in your experiences. And you can say, well, I tried all this stuff, but I failed. Didn't fail. You learned a bunch of ways, the lessons that didn't work. You just got to keep trying. That's where the perseverance things will come. You won't persevere if you don't believe in yourself.
True.
People talk about perseverance like, I need perseverance. Most people quit because they don't believe in their vision. They don't believe in their self-worth. If you don't believe in yourself, you're not going to continue to keep going. And almost everybody requires, even Elon Musk wanted to give up and had government shutting his car company down and all these car accidents and all the stuff that was happening. And it's not the kind of guy that I want to be proud of and to talk about Elon Musk, a billionaire. But perseverance, and he believed in his mission enough, he'll accomplish it. He thinks very highly of himself.
You think?
And he's
Come on,
worth
Vipin,
a
you
lot
think?
of money because of, yeah. And he can say he's miserable. He's not miserable. He's having a time of his life. And
I think a lot of times too we have to focus on or think about, because a lot of times our self-worth, we start to feel down on ourselves and whatnot, and at that point you just need to start to rebuild it. You need to work on things to build that self-worth back up by maybe keeping promises that you've made to yourself, and you mentioned one of yours today, working out this morning, and doing those small little steps that'll help you to rebuild your confidence and help you to rebuild your self-worth, and then celebrating those little things, the little victories that you have. And I think all of that helps you to rebuild once you've had a few chinks in the armor,
I want to correct you there, Bob.
Okay.
You went down the path of self-esteem. I didn't go to the gym this morning.
Yep, you're right. I did. But we were talking, because self-worth and it's that fine line.
You went down the path of self-esteem. Did I work out today? Did I feel better about myself? Did I go do this? Did I feel better about myself? No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about it to explain the difference between self-esteem and self-worth.
Right.
Self-worth is saying, gosh darn it, I'm a special person. I belong on the stage to be able to have a podcast that's super successful, to be able to get 30,000 downloads a month, to be able to go on Oprah if I need to, prove myself. But I don't need to go to Oprah to prove myself. I just need to change one person's perspective to feel the love that I've shared and had a purpose. The love that I share is with myself. The world doesn't exist. Let's talk about consciousness and deepness. The world doesn't exist until I create it. I picked up the phone and called you 2.5 years ago, 2 years and 2 months ago. I picked up the phone and called you and said, hey, Bob, let's do a podcast. I created this podcast.
And here we are almost every week for the last 2 years.
And we took a break, and it didn't feel good last year to take a break for me. We both were in this lull, right? Yep. So why are we doing this? We're doing it because we love doing it, worthy of it. Am I getting a reward out of it today? Probably not, except for my own self-feeling and self-worth. So I want to kind of shift on this mantra that we've been talking about for months. And this is a new addition that I came up with this week to it. And I think these are really powerful things to be able to say. We talk about I'm calm, centered, and loving, right? Mm-hmm. It's changed your life, you said. It's made a huge difference in your life. All the people that I talk to that have said, hey, get back to that mantra. I love it. I'm calm, I'm centered, I'm loving. If you're going to have good self-worth, you've got to accept yourself where you're at. I accept myself just as I am. Even that's not enough. Acceptance is a great grounding of the root chakra. I appreciate myself. That's the second chakra. I appreciate the creativity, the love, the desire, all of that stuff that I hold. And then I just created peace for myself by acceptance. My desire, a second chakra, I created a little bit of appreciation. Third chakra we talk about is purpose, your stomach. If you have a purpose, you're determined. You take actions with purpose, right? It's the solar chakra. And then we get to the fourth one, and we're going to stop there today. We're not stopping the podcast right now, but we're going to stop right there. Is I create from peace, purpose, and self-love. Self-love is self-worth. How much do you love yourself? Do you get beat up by society and still find a way to love yourself? It's a daily activity. We talked about a couple of weeks ago about trusting the universe. I think it was May 4th. Trusting, not trust. It's not a one-time thing. The self-worth thing is not a one-time thing. I think we talked last week about maybe we didn't talk about it. I talked with a friend this week about it. I went to a leadership course at this company called Gartner, and a big analyst firm. I went through 10 weeks of classroom training there about leadership and communication, and really part of it was about self-worth. Basically, what they wanted us to do was to make sure that we, as salespeople, were at the same level as the CIO, the Chief Information Officer of a big company. And they wanted us to be able to say, look, you have a lot of value. You've got 1,000 analysts behind you. You're selling a service that will help this person out. You need to be able to build a relationship at that equal level with that person. How you do that is by saying to yourself, I'm worthy. They didn't use those exact words, but they basically ingrained in us this level of self-confidence. You're worth a lot. You're worth $1,500 an hour is what we used to charge back in the late 90s, early 2000s. We had products and services that we leveraged, but we also sold consulting for $1,500 an hour if somebody wanted to talk to us for an hour. To get that self-worth, you're not always going to believe it. You're going to have people come down and say, you suck, Vipin. I'm going to break up the business relationship with you. Or you suck, Vipin, I'm going to break up the personal relationship with you. You suck, Vipin, because you didn't do a good job, so I'm going to give you a bad mark at your job or at school. You didn't live up to my standards. Now, you can, at that point, have bad self-esteem. You can say, well, I didn't live up to my standards. I didn't get the results that I wanted. Or you could say, I'm worth more than that. I'm worth more than this outcome. I'm going to look at it as a lesson so I can try harder next time, so I can try smarter next time. But I'm worth more than this job. I'm worth more than this grade in this class. I'm worth more. So I'm going to go after it and I'll get better. And I'm worth more doesn't mean I'm perfect. Doesn't mean that I'm going to go out there and try to make $1 million today. I'm not ready for it yet. So self-esteem really is about outcomes and validation. And people are going to poke holes in it every single day in your self-esteem, but they can't poke holes in your self-worth unless you let them.
That shows a lot of growth, actually.
In me is what you're validating. You're like, Vipin, that shows a lot of growth in you that you've come this far. But Bob, you and I resonate with that. You saw the growth in yourself. You saw your worth go more. I've been saying this mantra for the last 4 weeks now. I'm worthy of great health, wealth, and love. The love that I wasn't worthy of and I had a doubt around was myself. I was starting to doubt myself based on a bunch of things that happened in the last month and a half. But that's not the game. My self-esteem could have been down, and that's what went down. My self-worth shouldn't go down. I can build my self-esteem if I need to, but if I start with self-love, I'm going to be okay. I can call a friend saying, hey, I'm not feeling good about this. We talk about this, and you reinforce some beliefs of why we're friends, or I'm dealing with a situation, blah, blah, blah. So the key really comes down to is filling your bucket up with water. And back to that training course in 1996, that's what I learned from this guy who was teaching this class. He's like, we're going to have a bucket full of water. I'm going to call it the self-esteem bucket instead of the self-worth bucket. People are going to put holes in your self-esteem bucket. And what you got to do is have a close friend. You only need 1, 2, or 3 that you can pick up the phone and call and say, hey, Tom, I'm having a rough day, buddy. Hey, Bob, I'm having a rough day, buddy. Feeling down on myself because this thing that I wanted, I didn't get. I got to accept it. It's fine, but it's not fine because I'm not feeling fine about it. And that person will say, Vipin, you're doing okay. You're doing great. Or Bob, you're doing great. The thing that you're going through is painful because your hip hurts and you're not getting to where you want to be, but you're going to be okay. And just somebody listening to you, appreciating you, helps you build your self-esteem bucket. But your self-bucket, your self-worth bucket, only you can fill. You got to be able to say, Vipin is just a name for this body, this mind, and soul. Vipin, I'm okay just the way I am. I appreciate myself. I love myself for who I am. And once you can start loving yourself, others will see that, want more of that loving energy. And you got to fill that love up every day. It isn't just a one-time thing. You do it through prayer. You do it through meditation. You do it through reinforcement. We choose to do it through mantras. Calm, centered, and loving.
Calm, centered, and loving, Vipin. Calm, centered, and loving. Any final thoughts for today?
Yeah, I think in the bucket of self-worth and how to fill it, we really got to get to a level of self-acceptance. But I don't want people to stop there. Acceptance is just a nice way of saying I'm okay. I want people to be more than okay. I want them to appreciate themselves. It's essential to start with acceptance because if we don't accept, we hold a lot of resentments towards ourselves, towards others. You got to accept, it's okay to be a failure. It's okay to have a rough week. It's okay to have a rough year. I had a rough year in 2025 in so many ways, right? It's okay, but I appreciate myself. I create from peace, purpose, and self-love. That's a new mantra that just came up to me this week. Thought about it. It's what's said, right? I create from peace, purpose, and self-love. That's the mantra for self-worth. I think everybody, and I think in this society, we self-sabotage, like you said, Bob. I wasn't planning on talking about self-sabotage. How do you stop self-sabotage? Focus on self-love.
And that wraps up this episode of Manifest 360. If today's conversation sparked something in you, don't just think about it, apply it. Alignment isn't a vibe, it's a practice. Belief, emotion, strategy, and action, all moving in the same direction, that's where momentum lives. Be sure to follow, share with someone building something meaningful, and join us next week as we continue helping you manifest wealth and purpose. Manifest 360 is a podcastforhire.com production.